Using adaptive cruise control inside of the Volvo XC60 is a very straightforward process, and using it, just going to be using the buttons along the left-hand side of the steering wheel here. So as you begin to drive, you can hit the button in the middle, and that's going to turn on the cruise control system and set it at your current speed. From here, you could then push up or down to increase either 5 miles per hour or 5 kilometers an hour at a time. So if you've turned it on and it's at 37 kilometers an hour, you push up, it's going to go 40, 45, 50, etc. If you do a push and hold instead, that's going to either increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. It's a fairly slow process when you go that route, so you can either go up 5, down 5, or up or down 1 when you push and hold to get that 1. You could then hit the button here. And when you do that, that's going to change you out to a few different modes inside of the cluster screen along the very bottom. So there are 2 unique modes there. So the one with the steering wheel is going to be your ProPilot Assist. And that's the one that's going to keep you nice and balanced in your lane as long as the vehicle recognizes the lane markings. It's not fully self-driving though, because after a few seconds, eventually it's going to tell you that steering is required. But it's a pretty neat one at the same time. When you're in the other mode, that's just going to be for your regular adaptive cruise control system instead. So let's say if you set it at 50 kilometers an hour, person in front of you slows down, it's going to automatically brake for you. And there's only adaptive cruise control available in this ride, so there's no standard cruise, but it's whether or not you want that lane centering system enabled or not. From there, there's a distance indicator. So it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I want you to think of that one almost like a 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi type of a rule. So level 1 is good for residential streets. Level 2 is going to be good for highways, interstates. So level 2 or 3, just depending on your own personal preference. But it's essentially like 1 second away from the vehicle in front of you for each level. And there are a number of different levels available. So on that note, let's go for a quick spin, and I'm going to show you how the cruise control system works here while also explaining the hybrid gauges. So you can see there, hybrid gauge is currently going, and as I go to brake, you can see that 1 gauge is going to be dropping down fairly rapidly because what it's trying to do is recapture energy for regenerative braking. And then as I hit the accelerator, think of the gauge along the top right-hand side as your traditional RPM counter instead. So let's go for it. So the system is technically turned on right now. You could hit this button and that's going to set you at your current speed. Then you can push up in order to go 5 kilometers an hour faster. Push and hold either up or down to increase or decrease 1 kilometer or 1 mile per hour at a time. Here we go. So traffic's opened up a little bit because I've changed lanes, and it's going to bring me right back up to the previously set speed, which is 50. I can hit the brake in order to cancel my speed temporarily, push up in order to resume my previously set speed as well, and then it's a distance indicator. So like I said, so it's how close or far are you away from the vehicle that's in front of you. I honestly find that level 1 is best on residential streets, city streets, etc., and even stop and go traffic on the highway, versus level 2, maybe level 3 would kind of be ideal if you're on highways and interstates instead, but that's going to come down to a matter of personal preference. You can see again on our gauges, so we're using a little bit of power as I go. Well, I'm not even going to brake right now, like my feet are off the gas and the brake, and the car is doing everything for me. If you're stopped for longer than 3 seconds, it's going to require your input in order to start up again. But if you hit the brake, you could push up in order to resume your previously set speed again. So I know that's a little bit of info there, but that's how you utilize the adaptive cruise control system and understand the hybrid gauges inside of the XC60.